Hey everybody, welcome back to the Light Side Music Reactions. Today we are checking out, I believe this is a new artist to the channel. I'm familiar with the artist, but I don't think I've reacted to any of his songs on here before. It's Jason Aldean, and the song we're checking out today is called Flyover States. It was written by Neil Thrasher and Michael Delaney, and it was recorded by Jason Aldean, of course. Released in February 2012 as the fifth and final single from his 2010 album, My Kind of Party. Now, I do remember that song. I never really was a huge fan of Jason Aldean. I don't like the party anthem type songs are not my sort of thing. But if I remember correctly, he had a nice voice and, really talented. Just the content of his music wasn't really my cup of tea as far as lyrically. At least the songs that I had heard. But this song jumped out at me. The song title, Flyover States, sounds interesting. Something that, me being, a country boy raised on a farm and spent my entire life in this small town community. And then, of course, he had that song a few years ago, Try That in a Small Town, which basically just went through the roof. A great song. And so I thought I'd go ahead and check this out today and see if maybe this might be a better representation of, his roots coming through in his lyrical content in his songs. But this is the 15th single of his career, and in May 2012, it became his 7th number one hit, as well as his 14th top 10 hit and 9th consecutive top 5. So it was number one in May 2012, so that's been quite a few years ago, and I'm not familiar with the song. So let's go ahead and check this out. Jason Aldean singing Flyover States. Okay, already, you notice there's a little bit of mixture in the musical style. You got the that da da da, that little melody there. That's what is that? I think that's a steel guitar. So even though it's not the whiny steel that's that you're probably familiar with if you listen to the old fashioned country, but it's got that country type of sound. But then the guitars they got just a little bit of distortion in them. Not real heavy to where it's rock, but just that slight bit of distortion to show that this is the new country. All right, let's get into it.
A couple guys in first class on a flight from New York to Los Angeles, kind of making small talk, killing time, flirting with the flight attendants. 30,000 feet above could be Oklahoma. Just a bunch of square cornfields and wheat farms, man, it all looks the same. Miles and miles of back roads and highways.
Ooh, nice little bass lick there.
Who'd wanna live down there in the middle of nowhere? They've never drove through Indiana. Met the man who plowed that earth, planted that seed, busted his ass for you and me. You're gonna harvest moon in Kansas, and they'd understand why God made those flyover states. I bet that.
Okay. All right. So I'm enjoying this. I like the feel of it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lyrics. But I like his voice too. Yeah, he's definitely got that country twang. Okay, a couple guys on first class on a flight from New York to LA. I've never been on a plane. Actually, I have. I've been on a helicopter, but I've never been on a commercial flight in my life, and at this point in my life, I don't think I ever will. But especially with the TSA and the all you have to go through airport security and all that kind of stuff. Basically, if you're going to go on a plane flight, you have to plan ahead of time. You got to get a passport. You got to go through all the paperwork, and then on the day of, you got to get there hours early and sit around the airport for hours. And then you got to go through hours of preparation for your flight, and then you get on that flight, and it's this real cramped space, and then of course, if you've never been on a flight, there's that nervousness that comes with that, and then it's just, and then being cramped up in that little compartment. I imagine I'd be very claustrophobic in that type of situation. But yeah, he's describing being to the men on an airplane, making small talk, killing time, flirting with the flight attendants. That's country. 30,000 feet above could be Oklahoma. Just a bunch of square cornfields and wheat farms. Man, it all looks the same. And yeah, if some of these flyover states, I'm from Ohio, and I'm in a small town, but it's not. It's kind of spread out in the country where I live. But the nearest cities aren't that far away. I'm 16 miles outside of the nearest town, but nothing like some of these big cornfield towns where it's like miles and miles and miles of cornfield, and you're like miles from your next door neighbor. My next door neighbor is basically a quarter mile away from where I'm living right now, so it's not that huge distance between, but you've still got some privacy, and I like that. But and it's still, you're close enough to town where you can hop into a car, and in 15-20 minutes you could be at a gas station, and a few minutes later you could actually be in town and to the grocery store, that kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah, in Ohio, I've been through some of the areas where it's like miles and miles stretch of land. And I imagine flying over some of these Midwestern states, like Oklahoma, he mentions here. You look down from an airplane above, you probably can't figure out just from looking down, where you at. There's no milestones or markers to identify the land. It's just miles and miles of nothing, it seems. And there's something to be said that for that kind of life, out living on those farms out in the middle of nowhere and being away from the grind of the big cities and stuff. It's very peaceful. Growing up on that, on a farm, it is peaceful to get away from the cities. But miles and miles of back roads and highways connecting little towns with funny names. Ohio, West Virginia, we've got our share of small towns with funny names. So I know what he's talking about there. Who'd want to live down there in the middle of nowhere? Well, you might be surprised. It is a great place. I mean, I've lived here in this small town my entire life. I've never moved. I've moved around the state of Ohio, but never more than 200 miles away from home. And I don't think I would ever want to leave this general area. I talked about that in another video where a bunch of my friends in high school couldn't wait to get out of school and get out of this small town, head for the big city, the neon lights, that kind of stuff. That doesn't appeal to me. I like the small town life. And his song that I mentioned a few minutes ago, Try That in a Small Town, that's what our small town is like. It's everybody looks out for each other. If there's a disaster, like we've got the tornadoes and the hurricanes and earthquakes and stuff like that. Just in the last couple weeks, we had these major hurricanes down in North Carolina and Florida. It's just like that. It's just like that here. Whenever there's a disaster, we don't have that many hurricanes. We don't have any hurricanes here, but we've had our natural disasters and stuff. And whenever a neighbor is in trouble, everybody comes running and will give you the shirt off their back to help you. And that's the kind of life that we have in these flyover states and small towns. And it's a great life. Who'd want to live down there in the middle of nowhere? You're looking at them. All right, let's get back into it. Almost heaven, West Virginia. All right, yeah. That line there, you'd think heaven's doors have opened, when you go to those flyover states. Like the classic John Denver song, Take Me Home, Country Roads. Yeah, it's just like that. It says almost heaven, West Virginia. What we say in our neighborhood is that West Virginia is almost heaven because it's right next door to Ohio, which is heaven. So it is wonderful. It's a wonderful, these small towns, and I wouldn't trade this life for anything. Okay, I bet that mile long Santa Fe flight train. I bet that mile long Santa Fe freight train engineers seen it all. Yeah, you imagine they would. Just like that flatbed cowboy stacking U.S. steel on a 3-day haul. Yeah, the truck drivers. Hat tip to you truckers out there. Keeping things moving for the rest of us in the country, supplying what we need to go through our lives. We take so many of them for granted. So hat tip to all you truckers out there, all you steel workers that make the steel, all you people that make the cars that we drive. The common man that live in these flyover states, that the flyover citizens basically of the country, that are so often overlooked by the people in the cities that don't realize all the stuff they take for granted, where that comes from. And it's the people in these flyover states that make things move in the big cities. Yeah, that road and rails under their feet. Yeah, it sounds like a first class seat. Yeah, once again, talking about the truck drivers. It's a first class seat to be able to drive a truck and to see the country that way. I imagine that would be a great lifestyle too. I've got some friends that are truck drivers, and I've got one in particular that has been a good friend to me, and he moved out of town. I think he's in Florida now, but or Texas. He's been to Texas and Florida, living there, but he's a bus driver, and he's talked about how all the different people he's met and the different places he's seen. It is a nice life. Me, I wouldn't mind, traveling like that, but I think at this point in my life, I'm ready to settle down and just stay here in this nice flyover state in this small town. On the plains of Oklahoma, with the windshield sunset in your eyes, like a watercolor painted sky, you'd think heaven's doors have opened, and you'll understand why God made these flyover states. Did I miss anything on that previous verse? They never drove through Indiana. I met the man who plowed that earth, planted that seed. Yeah, that's talking about the farmers. My dad, raised us on a farm. Still today, he raises cattle, and he's that kind of person that plants those seeds and plowed that earth. We grew up doing that. Yep, that's a special kind of person right there. Busted his you-know-what for you and me. Yeah, all these people we're talking about here, the steel workers, the farmers, the truck drivers, all these different people that make the flyover states, that make up their population. They're busting their butts out there so that those of us who live in the cities and those of us that don't work out there with our hands and feet, maybe we're working desk jobs or sort of stuff like that, we can't take them for granted because they are busting their butts so that we can have the stuff that we need in order to accomplish our jobs. And so, definitely a great tribute this song is to the hardworking men and women in the flyover states of our country. We're called a harvest moon in Kansas. I've seen a harvest moon out here. It's beautiful when the moon is not only full, but it's huge in the sky. Gorgeous. If you ever get a chance to see a harvest moon out in the city, you can't see it, or out in the country, you can't really get the effect of it in the city because of all the bright lights of the street lights and stuff. But you get out in the country where there's stretches without the bright lights to distract from it. It's a beautiful sight, and you can't capture it with a camera either. It's just something you have to see with the naked eye in order to really appreciate it. All right, let's get back into the song. There's that steel guitar. This is the way I like to hear steel guitar. Not too whiny. This is the way to play it, in my opinion. Meet that country girl. Yeah, I remember back in the 70s, I wish they all could be California girls. They never met a country girl. Oh, double meaning there. Plains. Plains, the plains of Oklahoma. And they're on a plane, Plane. Nice little play there. All right, very nice. I like his voice. Like as I said, he's got that country twang. I like the feel of the song. It's got that slight distortion on the guitar to give it the modern feel. And it's got the steel guitar in there, so you've got the classic country instruments. And yet they're played in a way that's not excessively whiny, which is one of the reasons why I was not always a huge fan of all of the classic country music. I do like a lot of classic country, but one of the things that really pushed me away from it was that whiny steel guitar that was prevalent in a lot of old country songs. And this is the way I like to hear steel guitar, is to where it's not complete, it's not overbearing the song, and it's not drowning out the other instruments. It's there, and you can hear it, and you can appreciate it, but it doesn't overbear the song and doesn't distract from it in a negative way. I like the song, constructed pretty well. Very nice tribute. Not nice lyrics for the change. There's the one, the mild profanity in that one lyric there. And that's one of the things that concerns me with a lot of the country music that are like the party type songs, is they always got to get that profanity in there at some point. And that just kind of rubs me the wrong way, whether it be the country songs that do it, or whether it be the rap songs and the R&B sort of stuff that is excessive with their profanity. It just really makes me want to just turn off the song and stop listening to it. This was a mild one. Bust their you know what for you and me, is what the line was. And so I can give that a pass. Anyway, yeah, I enjoyed that. What do you guys think? Did you like it? Did you enjoy my reaction? If so, hit the like button, comment down below, and give me some recommendations on music you think I should check out. And subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you know when we add new content. We've got a new show that we just launched on this channel called The Light Side Random Reactions, which has content that doesn't really qualify as music, and it doesn't also qualify as the TV and movie trailers. And so it's just random stuff that I see on the internet that jumps out at me, or that you might recommend that doesn't fall into those categories. And so check out our playlists. If listening to me react to music isn't your thing, check out one of the other playlists, and hopefully there's something you enjoy. And as always, thank you guys for your recommendations. Thank you for being part of this community. And God bless you all. We'll see you next time on Lightside Music Reactions. Bye, everybody.